Hi, everyone. I'm just going to wait a few seconds to let everybody join. I see some folks are just joining us this afternoon or evening, I should say. My name is Tess. I am the Director of Communications and Stakeholder Relations at the Home Construction Regulatory Authority, or HCRA for short. And on behalf of our team, thank you for joining us this evening. We're happy to be hosting the session virtually, which allows us to connect with more of you across the province. And so, wherever you're located, we're so glad to have you here tonight. And you'll be hearing from our CEO and registrar, Wendy Moyer, along with a few members of our investigations team. So we have Todd, Don, and Manveer. Hi, everybody. And so everybody here with us will explain why it matters to work with a licensed builder and what it means when someone builds homes without a license, which is also known as illegal building. Also today we will be breaking down what illegal building looks like, the risk to consumers, what to watch out for when navigating the home buying process. And throughout our session, we do encourage you, if you have a question, to submit that at any point using the Q&A function below. We'll try to answer questions as we go, actually. And we do have time allotted at the end to address any additional questions as well. And so, just a few housekeeping before we jump in. So, to make the most of our time together, we do ask that you keep your questions focused on today's topic of illegal building and how you can protect yourself. We appreciate everybody helping us maintain a respectful and inclusive environment in the questions that you ask. If we're not able to get to your question today in the session, we'll do our best to follow up with a response. And also, as well, for everybody's awareness, today's session is also being recorded, and we will be sharing a link to the recording, and it will also be available on our website. And so, before we begin, the HCRA would like to acknowledge the Indigenous peoples of all the lands that we're on, and to take a moment to recognize the importance of the lands that we call home. At the HCRA, we do this to reaffirm our commitment to inclusion and belonging, as well as improving our own understanding of local Indigenous peoples and their cultures. As today's webinar is being hosted by the HCRA, whose office is located in Toronto, we acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabeg, the Chippewa, and the Haudenosaunee, as well as the Wendat peoples, and is now home to diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. So once again, thank you for joining us, and I will pass it over now to Wendy for a brief overview of the HCRA.
Great, thanks Tess, and hello everyone, welcome. I'm Wendy Moyer, CEO and Registrar of the HCRA. Thank you for joining us this evening. We really appreciate you taking the time to be here. So as Ontario's regulator of new home builders and sellers, our core mandate is consumer protection, and that means making sure you have the information, oversight, and support you need to make informed decisions when buying a new home. Buying a new home, it's one of the biggest financial decisions most people will ever make, and working with the right builder matters. One of the biggest risks we're seeing in the market today is illegal building and selling. That is people building or selling homes without a license. And that's why tonight's session is focused on the importance of choosing a licensed builder and how to make sure you're working with someone you can trust. Before we get into these details, I'd like to give you a quick overview of what we do at the HCRA and how we're here to support you as home buyers. Next slide, please. One of our key responsibilities at the HCRA is licensing. We license the people and companies who build and sell new homes in Ontario. We hold licensed builders to clear standards for both competence and conduct, meaning that they must not only have the technical knowledge to build homes properly, but also act with honesty, integrity, and fairness in how they treat home buyers. And I know some of you may be familiar with Tarion, which has provided new home warranties in Ontario since 1976. But with the HCRA being a relatively new organization, we often get questions about who does what. So let me clarify. Historically, Tarion was also responsible for licensing builders. But in 2021, following an independent review, the provincial government created the HCRA to take over that function. And today, the HCRA handles licensing and regulatory oversight, while Tarion continues to administer the new home warranty program. A helpful way to think about it is like driving. The HCRA would be like a driver's license. It confirms the builder is qualified and authorized to operate. And Tarion is like your insurance, providing warranty protection if something goes wrong with your home after you move in. So in addition to licensing, the HCRA also supports homebuyers, providing tools and resources to help you make confident, informed decisions. And one of the most important tools is the Ontario Builder Directory, which lists more than 7,000 licensed builders and sellers across the province. It includes helpful information like a builder's current licensing status, how long they've been active, the number of homes they've built, and any regulatory actions taken by the HCRA, including any charges or convictions against the builder. And just last month, we introduced updates to make the directory even more transparent and accessible. Now, right on the homepage, you can find direct links to any regulatory actions and even search for builders involved in insolvency proceedings. These enhancements are all about giving homebuyers like you better access to important information before you sign an agreement or make a major investment. We also have a public complaints process. So if you have concerns about a builder's conduct or business practices, you can file a complaint directly on our website. Every concern is reviewed and we take them all seriously. We're also continuing to educate and support the industry, because that's another way we protect consumers. And in fact, we'll be issuing a new advisory shortly that reinforces the legal requirements for anyone involved in selling new homes in Ontario. That includes being licensed by the HCRA and that the home is properly enrolled in the warranty program. These are safeguards designed to make sure homes are being sold responsibly and that buyers receive the protection and coverage they're entitled to. The advisory also outlines the consequences of not following the rules, including monetary penalties and other charges. It is important for anyone involved in buying or selling newly built homes, including builders, real estate professionals, and lawyers, even consumers, so they can better understand what's required. And if you visit our website, we also have helpful advisories that outline the obligations of builders and sellers, including topics like price escalations, which consumers may find useful when navigating the home buying process. So I encourage you to look at our website for those. We also have a dedicated advisory on the role that builders play in helping to stop illegal building as well. So choosing a licensed builder. Next, I want to come back to the main reason we're here tonight, the importance of choosing a licensed builder. And to be clear, any person or company building or selling new homes in Ontario is required by law to be licensed by the HCRA. It's illegal to build or sell new homes without a license, and without a license, there's no oversight or accountability, and that puts buyers at risk. Working with an unlicensed builder means working with someone who hasn't demonstrated the competency, skills, knowledge, or financial responsibility required to do the job properly. And they haven't been vetted. They're not held to professional or ethical standards, and they're not accountable in the same way licensed builders are. That can lead to serious issues for home buyers, including homes that don't meet building code requirements, safety risks, and even financial loss. I mean, worker safety legislation may not be followed properly. And if the builder you choose doesn't pay their trades, there could be liens filed on your property. It also means that you may not be covered under the warranty program, because if a home isn't properly enrolled with Tarion, you could miss out on important protections that every new home buyer is entitled to. And that's why the HCRA licensing process exists. It's not a rubber stamp. It's a critical evaluation of whether someone is actually qualified to build and sell homes in Ontario, and whether they continue to be qualified. So beyond skills, we also expect professionalism, because building a home, it's not just a construction project, it's a relationship to some degree. And only licensed builders and sellers are bound by a code of ethics, which requires them to treat home buyers fairly, honestly, and with integrity. This is where licensing creates accountability. And if a licensed builder falls short of those expectations, home buyers can file a complaint, and we have tools to respond. That can mean requiring additional education, placing conditions on their license, or in serious cases, suspending or revoking a license altogether. And that layer of oversight simply doesn't exist when you work with someone operating illegally. Unlicensed builders don't just put individual home buyers at risk, they do undermine the entire market and erode public trust in new home construction. They also create unfair competition for licensed builders who follow the rules, and they take advantage of the fact that many buyers may not realize just how important licensing really is until something goes wrong. And that's why illegal building is one of the HCRA's top priorities. And we have our dedicated investigation team, including Todd, Dawn, and Manveer today, and that team actively pursues illegal builders, laying charges and seeking penalties where appropriate. For example, just last month, our team conducted a series of site visits in Sault Ste. Marie and uncovered serious concerns, including illegal building and selling, failure to enroll homes in the warranty program, and breaches of the code of ethics. And our team also met with local building officials to explore ways to strengthen enforcement and prevent illegal activity going forward. We think that these partnerships are essential and ongoing across the province, and they do make a difference. Most builders in Ontario are doing the right thing. They meet our standards, they treat consumers with respect, and build homes responsibly. But for the small group of individuals who don't follow the rules, our message is clear. The HCRA takes illegal building seriously, and we will take action to protect the public. But to help bring this issue to life that I'm talking about here, I want to turn it over to our investigations team, Todd, Dawn, and Manveer, who will walk through what illegal building looks like in practice, how we respond, and what you should watch for. Over to you, Todd.
Okay, thank you, Wendy.
Any questions early on? We have any questions yet, Tess? No. All right, take it away, Todd.
Okay, thank you, Wendy. As part of the investigations team, our role mainly deals with unlicensed builders and vendors. The investigation team receives illegal building complaints, which involve the entire new home buying process, from sourcing a builder to entering into an agreement and finally moving into your home. The investigation team really deals with it all. So it's important to understand the role of a builder and a vendor, and to ensure you are aware of the responsibilities of both when purchasing a new home. In relation to new homes, a builder is defined as a person or an entity who undertakes all the work and supplies all the materials necessary to construct a completed home. The builder is responsible for the construction of the home. A vendor or a seller in relation to new homes is defined as a person or entity who sells a home not previously occupied to an owner. The vendor is responsible for providing statutory warranty coverage on the home. As you can see by the slide, there are two main ways to purchase a new home. The first way is to enter into a contract with a builder. In this case, you own the property and enter into a contract with the builder to build your completed home. You would be considered the owner and take possession of the home when construction has completed. The second way to purchase a new home is to enter into an agreement of purchase and sale with a vendor or seller. The seller owns the property and sells you the home and the property. These types of home sales usually are facilitated by a real estate agent, and you would agree to a purchase price and a closing date for your new home. So when entering into an agreement of purchase and sale or a contract, it's recommended you have a lawyer review the contract or the agreement of purchase and sale to ensure all the legal requirements are covered. The investigation team receives approximately the same number of complaints involving contract homes as we do homes sold through an agreement of purchase and sale. However, when you purchase a new home, even through a contract or an agreement of purchase and sale, the builder and vendor are required to demonstrate both ethical behavior and ensure the quality of the construction of your new home. So illegal building is a term we often hear when talking about new homes. But what exactly is illegal building? This slide represents different examples of illegal building. So a builder requires a license to advertise or market themselves as a new home builder. Advertising may be done on their website or social media. A builder also requires a license to enter into a contract or offer to build a new home. And a builder also requires a license when they're building the new home, as described earlier, supplying the materials and labor to build a completed home. A vendor or seller requires a license to advertise or list a new home for sale. This could be through a real estate listing, as seen in the example, a home listed for sale on a website or social media. A vendor or seller also requires a license to sell or offer to sell a new home by entering into an agreement of purchase and sale. So just simply entering into the agreement of purchase and sale, the vendor must hold an HCRI license. And a vendor or seller also requires a license when transferring title of a new home. So this would occur when a new home transfers title from a seller to a purchaser. An example may be winning a lottery or charitable home, and the home transfers to the winner. So not enrolling homes with Tarion is also considered illegal building. Anyone who plans to build or sell a new home in Ontario must first be licensed by the HCRA and must also apply to Tarion for approval to sell the home, and then enroll the home in the warranty plan. There are two separate responsibilities for both builders and vendors when it comes to enrolling new homes. The first is called a qualification for enrollment confirmation from Tarion and is required for every new home intended to be sold. The second is an enrollment confirmation and is required for every new home intended to be built. So before you enter into a contract or an agreement of purchase and sale with a builder or a vendor, Tarion should have approved the sale of your new home. For those of you who have construction skills or access to trades, you may decide to build your own home, and you may be considered an owner builder. So what is an owner builder? When you own property and want to build a new home on that property, you assume the responsibilities and the role of the builder. You would be responsible for managing the construction of the home, including obtaining municipal permits, directly contracting with subcontractors, trades, and suppliers. You are in control of the construction of your home. So in these situations and scenarios, you do not have to be licensed to build your own home, but if you build your own home, your home does not qualify for a Tarion warranty, and you must live in the home as your primary residence. Are there any questions at this point of the presentation?
Todd, and thank you for asking. And I think you covered some of this, but maybe just to summarize, this question is actually on licensing requirements. So is it for all buildings, or is it only for buildings built for sale, or does this include purposely built?
purposely built? I'm not, I don't really understand the question, Tess.
I think it just is our licensing requirements for homes built for sale. Does this include someone maybe who has built someone for an owner on behalf is the question. Does it have to be
Yes.
for sale, or maybe you're building on behalf of
Okay.
someone who owns the land, let's say?
Yeah, so you would have to be licensed as both. There's different ways of becoming a licensed. There's scenarios where you have to become licensed as a builder and a vendor, and there's scenarios where you would just be considered the vendor of the home. So if you build a home under a contract for somebody, you supply the materials and the labor to construct a completed home, you have to be licensed as a builder and a vendor because you are essentially selling that product to the owner. If you're selling something simply just selling, you own the property and you hire somebody else to build the home for you, then you would just simply be required to be licensed as a vendor. And your obligations would be to cover the warranty for the home.
Thank you, Todd. Oh, and the person clarified by purposely built, they meant for rentals. So in that case,
Oh, okay.
if somebody
For
is building
rentals.
for rentals, maybe you can expand
Again,
a little bit on that.
okay, so then again, both those scenarios may apply. So if you're building your own home and going to rent it out, acting as an owner builder, you would not be not required to be a licensed, to have a license, sorry. If you are contracting with a builder to build you a home that you are still going to rent out and not sell, you have to contract with a licensed builder, and that builder would have to enroll your home with Tarion. But you would not be required as a vendor because you're not selling it, you're going to rent it.
And you just mentioned, Terry, and a question did pop up. When is a builder required to enroll that home then with Tarion?
Well, as I indicated, there's two types of scenarios with enrolling. So when the builder determines that they're going to sell that home, so before they enter into a contract or an APS to sell the home, they have to obtain qualification for enrollment. And before they start construction, they have to seek enrollment confirmation from Tarion. So there's two different stages of enrolling a home. One before you sell it, and the other one would be before you start construction. Any other questions?
Not right now. I think we'll move on with the presentation. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to turn the presentation over to Manveer now. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. I'll be taking everybody through the H-Series website and just kind of how to navigate it. So the H-Series website that you see before you on the slide has a wealth of information and resources for consumers. Through the next few slides, I'll be guiding you through how to navigate the H-Series website to find different information and tools that are accessible to any member of the public. Here underneath the Consumer Protection tab, you can see that there is a section titled Illegal Building. This section will provide you with information on things like what a new home is, what is illegal buying and selling, the risks to consumers from illegal building or selling, and how you can protect yourselves from it. As mentioned previously, the H-Series website also contains many advisories with a wealth of information for members of the public. 4 of the advisories are on the common definition of a home, a builder, a vendor, and an owner. These advisories provide you with an in-depth explanation of each definition, along with some real-life examples to help relate back to the information that you're getting. We strongly urge that consumers like yourselves educate themselves on these definitions, as well as the other advisories that are available on our website. The H-Series website also contains the Ontario Builders Directory. It's a public database available through our website, and it provides you with the ability to search for a builder or seller to see if they are licensed or not. As you can see here, you can fill in the requested information as seen in the search boxes and receive search results that kind of look like this. This is a typical profile that may come up for a builder or a vendor. You'll be able to see information such as a builder or seller's license status, the date they became licensed, the number of homes they've built or sold, any warranty claims that they've paid out in the last 10 years, as well as any actions taken by the HCRA. These actions could include revoking a license, penalties and orders, or even charges and convictions, as you can see on the slide before you. This profile actually belongs to a previously licensed builder, and we'll be taking you through a case study on this later on in this presentation. The Ontario Builders Directory also lets you search to confirm your home's warranty coverage. You can fill in the boxes using the examples you see before you. And you'll get, if your home has warranty coverage, the information will show up like this and show you when the home was enrolled, when the warranty starts or ends, and who the builder or seller of that home is. However, vice versa, if your home is not enrolled, you will get a search result that looks like this, indicating there are no warranties matching your search terms. This may mean that your home is not enrolled, or that you may need to specify or revisit your search conditions. The Ontario Builders Directory also lets you search for any regulatory activities and enforcement actions that have been taken by the HCRA. This is a useful tool for the public. It allows you to keep up to date with any actions that the HCRA is taking on an ongoing basis. Using that search option, you can see recent court charges or convictions. And in these charges, you can see there's information such as when the charges were laid, who the charges were laid against, and even much, much more, such as the kind of charge that has been laid against them, the date that they were convicted, and even the amount of their fine. You can also see recent actions that have been taken by the registrar here at the HCRA. These actions range from administrative penalty orders, compliance orders, and even a notice of proposal to revoke a license. And finally, you can see any ongoing discipline and appeals committee proceedings, which will show you the licensee's information of who is involved and indicate when the next hearing date is. Moving on, there can be many warning signs when dealing with an illegal builder or seller, and we want to help you learn how to identify some of those signs in your day-to-day interactions with them. An illegal seller may include a clause in their agreement of purchase and sale stating that the Tarion warranty does not apply to this home, and that the HST rebate is just simply not applicable to this sale. And although they may include these types of clauses in your agreement of purchase and sale, it does not mean that this is not a new home, that Tarion warranty is not applicable. It's simply just a term that could be included in the agreement of purchase and sale in hopes that you don't believe that your home is a new home or that it requires Tarion warranty. Sometimes you may even see a clause in the agreement of purchase and sale stating that the home is brand new and has never been occupied. This is a big sign to look into the sale of the home further, and it indicates that there's a potential that this home should be enrolled with Tarion warranty and that the seller of the home should be licensed to sell you this home. Often, purchasers will also include their own clauses requiring that a home be enrolled with Tarion for warranty coverage, but the illegal seller may just cross these clauses out in any subsequent drafts or amendments to the original document. We're all aware, it's very common for an agreement of purchase and sale to go through multiple drafts, multiple amendments before the final offer is accepted. It is very important for this very reason to go over every clause carefully, even ones that have been crossed out. An illegal builder, on the other hand, may try to provide you with their own warranty coverage instead and say that their warranty is the same or even better than Tarion's. They may even try to use terms within their contract that are similar to what the HCRA Tarion uses, like a pre-delivery inspection. They may even try to cover the same warranty items that a Tarion warranty would typically cover. Again, this is a sign that if they're trying to cover items that a Tarion warranty covers, they may be aware that they're required to be licensed, but just simply aren't doing so. Illegal builders may even try to give themselves a different title, such as project manager, to try to make it seem as if they're not the builder of this home. But regardless of what title they give themselves, they may still be considered a builder and require a license to build your home. As mentioned earlier in this presentation, it does not come down to what the builder calls themselves. It comes down to what they are providing and what their responsibilities are as a builder. Another warning sign may actually be hidden in the deposit structure of your contract. As you can see in the picture here, the builder requires a large deposit of $200,000 on signing the contract. Large deposits like this could serve as a potential warning sign to look further into the builder that you're hiring. This is one of the reasons it is important to include clauses in your agreement or contract that require your deposit to be held in trust. You may even have an illegal builder present you with an agreement that is very informal or just scribbled onto a blank piece of paper. As you can see here, there is no company name on the agreement, no contact information, and no detailed breakdown of the roles or responsibilities for either the builder or the homeowner. This could be a big indicator that your builder may not be licensed and requires further digging into. And finally, before I move on, for anybody who has any sort of concerns regarding potential illegal building or illegal sales, we have a quick little video to show you how to navigate our website and how you can submit a complaint regarding an illegal builder or seller on our website. So the video here before I hit play is the main home screen of our website. And you'll notice that if you go into the Consumer Protection tab, under illegal building, the page that we explored before, if you scroll down to the bottom of this page, there will be a title or an image titled, I want to file a complaint. Let's go back real quick. At the bottom of that page, you'll find that logo that says, I want to file a complaint. And if you hover over and click on that image, it'll take you directly to the HCRA's complaint form. And on that complaint form, you'll be able to submit any concerns that you have for the HCRA to investigate further. Before I pass this over to Dawn, just wanted to see if there were any questions surrounding things that I've covered.
Thanks so much, Van Mayor. That was super helpful. I do see a question. And so, you talked about the Ontario Builder Directory a little bit. And so if, let's say, one cannot find a builder on the directory, does that mean that they're not operating legally?
Thanks, Tess. That is not always the case. Sometimes it may just be that you're searching up under an incorrect term or an incorrect company name. Oftentimes, we urge consumers to search up the name that is on the agreement of purchase and sale or the name that is in your contract. Companies can often operate as one name, but legally have another name altogether. So just because you don't find their information on the Ontario Builders Directory does not mean that they're not licensed.
Thanks so much. And I have another question, and you touched upon this in your presentation. And so how are people getting around being licensed? Are they doing things such as having homeowners build a permit? Have you seen that? Or can we maybe expand a little bit about what that may look like in terms of illegal building and selling?
Yeah, for sure. So there's no black and white way in which builders are circumventing their obligations to be licensed. Oftentimes, that is one of the situations we come across where builders may ask a homeowner to submit the permits themselves. Again, there are a lot of requirements for meeting the definition of a builder. But again, it is assessed on really a case-by-case basis, which is why we always urge consumers to be more educated and also to reach out to us if they have any concerns. Sorry, you're muted, Tess.
Oh, goodness me. This question's come in, and it's a good question, and maybe we can speak to this. The question is, do you communicate illegal building complaints to Tarion?
Apologies. Do we communicate regarding illegal building complaints with Tarion?
Yeah.
Yes, as mentioned, it'll be taken into a bit of a deeper dive later in this presentation. We do communicate with Tarion, although we are separate organizations. At the end of the day, the information that we collect and gather through our investigative process can sometimes be very important to Tarion. And at the end of the day, once an investigation is done and a determination is made, we do forward our results to Tarion.
Thanks so much, Ranmir. And I think we can move on to the next portion of the presentation for now. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Tess. At this point, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Dawn.
Well, thank you, Manveer. I am now going to be taking you through how the HCRA is combating illegal building. First, I'm going to discuss the investigation process. Throughout the course of an illegal building or selling investigation, there are ultimately three major stages: documentation and information collection, analysis of the information collected, and ultimately determination of an outcome. Excuse me. Doing a deeper look into information and documentation collection, I do want to highlight some of the places and people that we work with to obtain this information and documentation mentioned. We work closely with municipalities and building departments, real estate agents, homeowners, neighbors, Tarion, and other agencies such as the Real Estate Council of Ontario. As I indicated previously, we determine an outcome for all investigations. These outcomes aim to ensure adherence to both the New Home Construction Licensing Act and the Ontario New Home Warranties Plan Act. Our compliance measures vary from educational letters to legal prosecution. I'm going to highlight two of the strongest outcomes that the HCRA may take. First, we'll look at administrative penalties. This is a relatively new outcome that is available to the HCRA. An administrative penalty has a maximum base penalty amount of $50,000 per contravention of a legal building or selling. Administrative penalties are used to ensure compliance with the Act and prevent a person from deriving any economic benefit from the contravention. The next outcome I will discuss is prosecution. Illegal building is a provincial offense under both the New Home Construction Licensing Act and the Ontario New Home Warranty Plan Act. For this example, I will focus on the New Home Construction Licensing Act. For an individual's first contravention of the Act, there is a fine up to $50,000 or imprisonment for a term of not more than 2 years less a day, or both the fine and imprisonment. For subsequent contraventions of the New Home Construction Licensing Act, the fine increases up to $100,000 or imprisonment of a term of not more than 2 years less a day, or both. For a company, it's a little bit different. For a first contravention for the company, the fine is $250,000, or for any subsequent contravention, the fine increases up to $500,000. As mentioned previously, we have some case studies that we want to walk through. We have 3 different ones with recent investigation outcomes. The first case study that we're going to talk about tonight is an illegal builder holding themselves out as a builder by advertising online. In this slide, you'll see the website screenshot. It indicates custom build homes. And if you look further down, it mentions bringing your dream home to a reality. Some further snippets from the website obtained also include designing custom homes, construction of custom homes, ensuring customer satisfaction, designing the home and obtaining the permits, budgeting and balancing between cost and quality, construction management and scheduling, with over 2 decades of experience, and ultimately providing a turn-in key home for the consumer. This builder was not licensed with the HCRA, and as Todd had mentioned previously, anyone who is advertising as a new home builder requires to be licensed. As such, we issued an administrative penalty against the builder for holding themselves out as a builder and not being licensed. The administrative penalty was appealed to the License Appeal Tribunal, who ultimately upheld the HCRA's administrative penalty, indicating the builder did in fact hold themselves out as a builder by advertising themselves on their website as a new home builder and not being licensed. The administrative penalty was just over $8,000. The next case study I'm going to discuss tonight is regarding an illegal builder, Albion Building Consultant, Inc., who I will just refer to as Albion. The HCRA conducted a lengthy investigation into Albion and its illegal building practice. Throughout the course of the investigation, there were news articles mentioning the action the HCRA has taken, such as the investigation into Albion, their license being revoked by the HCRA, response from one of Albion's officer directors indicating they did break the law, HCRA freezing their assets, laying charges, and restraining Albion from building new homes. Next, we have a little video to show you. It is from Global News regarding the Albion investigation.
It looks like any other new home construction project built by this Toronto company called Albion Builders, a firm run by Zamal Hussain and his wife Farida Haque. Their pictures are up on that sign. A year ago, the provincial new home regulator stripped Albion of its license to build homes.
They're actively building. Right here.
This Scarborough resident named Paul, who asked us not to use his last name, lives near several recent Albion projects.
Clear that they are not complying with what the judgment was.
We first reported on Albion the day the provincial regulator stripped its license for various infractions, including not enrolling new homes in the warranty program, as required.
Sir, you broke the law.
I broke the law, obviously.
Since then, the regulator executed a search warrant at its office, seized thousands of documents.
As we did have reason to believe that they continue to build homes illegally, perhaps 50 homes or more.
Like this house, the concrete pumping truck still shows the Albion logo and a home warranty sticker. Our crew went back to the company's offices in search of answers. We'd like to find out why you're building homes when the regulator has said you're not allowed to.
No, it's already been doing it. Just close it.
Okay.
Can you close the door?
Okay, thank you.
Just close the door.
Hossein stays at his desk with nothing to say this time. But Albion isn't really hiding what it's up to.
Building your dream home, even though according to the regulator, they're not supposed to be building anybody's home.
With no provincial license, Toronto building permits appear to be issued in other names.
So this is the loophole of allowing an individual to apply for the building permit.
Provincial regulators stopped Hossein and Hack from re-registering their business under another corporate name. Now the couple could face more legal action.
And we have the ability to ask for increasing penalty amounts and jail time for repeat offenders.
In the meantime, the company is still operating and lawyer Mohammed Razak has no answers.
Are you speaking on behalf of the company?
No, there's a proper procedure. You should come through the proper procedure.
What's that?
Please leave the office.
Isn't the proper
Okay?
procedure
Thank
not
you.
building homes?
Yeah.
We are not doing an interview, sir.
Now, it's been almost 4 months since the raid on these offices and the regulator going through thousands of documents. Want to point out no new charges have been laid yet, but the regulator is telling me they expect to announce next steps very soon.
So we'll just focus on those next steps, as mentioned in the article. Albion Building Consultant Inc. was previously convicted by Tarion and also had their license revoked by the HCRA. We received numerous complaints, which led to an investigation of Albion. This investigation revealed 41 homes being illegally built and or sold, resulting in 130 charges laid against 7 companies and individuals. The HCRA is now working with Tarion on warranty protections for all the impacted homeowners. The last case study I'm going to share tonight is regarding illegal selling or illegal vending. The term you often hear out there is flipping or flipping houses. This case involved a purchaser buying a home from a licensed builder. The title then transferred to the purchaser, who ultimately decided not to occupy the home and to list the brand new home for sale. As previously mentioned by Todd, by listing the home for sale, the seller is now holding themselves out as an illegal seller, which is a contravention as a license is required to offer a brand new unoccupied home for sale. The seller then sold the brand new unoccupied home to new purchasers. The seller is now acting as an illegal seller, which is also a contravention, as sellers are required to be licensed if they are selling a brand new unoccupied home. Title then transferred to the new purchasers, who then occupied the home. In this specific case, the HCRA issued an administrative penalty against 2 illegal sellers for selling a home without being licensed. The administrative penalty was issued against 2 individuals, as there was two sellers on title for the home. The matter was also appealed to the License Appeal Tribunal, which upheld the HCRA's decision, indicating the 2 sellers did in fact sell a home without a license and were ordered to pay the administrative penalty of roughly $177,000 or just shy of $89,000 each. Tess, are there any questions?
Thanks so much, John. And yes, there is a question. And so earlier you mentioned that we work with different authorities to tackle illegal building. And so the question is, if let's say there is a breach involving a realtor, are we sharing this information back with RICO in some way?
Yeah, we do have investigations that we work alongside with RICO if real estate agents are involved.
Thanks so much. And I think with that, maybe we'll pass it directly to Wendy, perhaps.
Hey, great, yes. Yeah, thank you, team, for walking us through what illegal building and selling actually looks like, how to spot it, how to file a complaint, the importance of the builder directory in those cases and those case studies. It is a lot of ground to cover, but I hope that the message is clear to everyone that licensing matters. When builders and sellers are licensed, there's oversight, there's accountability, and a process to follow if something goes wrong. And when they're not, those safeguards do disappear, and that puts home buyers at risk, which is why we're focused on education, enforcement, and making it easier for buyers to verify who they're working with. And I do want to just reiterate, go to the builder directory. If you aren't sure, you can also contact the 8CRA directly and we'll help you verify that as well. So at the same time, we know that we need to stop bad actors before they start. We're making progress, but we're also strengthening our approach through smarter practices, new tools, and working with government and our stakeholders on proactive strategies to do just that. And maybe I'll pass it back to you, Tess. It looks like there are a few other questions that we can help answer.
Yeah, thanks so much. And let me just take a look. So here is a question, and I'll put up to our panel. Who do I contact if I need to escalate concerns about a builder who's not following the law?
I can
Take
certainly.
that one. Oh, go ahead, Manveer. I won't stop you.
Simply put, Tess, any concerns regarding somebody who may be acting or building illegally, I believe those complaints can just be submitted straight to us. As shown in the presentation, there is a complaints form on our website. Consumers can access that complaint form and submit any concerns they have, which will ultimately just be addressed by us.
Thanks so much. And I'll just go to our next question. I think this one's probably for Todd, but feel free for anybody to jump in. The question is, does illegal building apply to renovations and additions on the home?
Ooh, that's a good question. It may in some cases. It really depends on the size of the renovation or the addition. Typically, builders and sellers of new homes need to be licensed, but if the renovation that they're building is large and incorporates a small amount or a smaller amount of the old home, then yes, they would also have to require to be licensed as well. These are really determined on a case-by-case basis, and often we would need the plans of the existing home and the new addition or renovation to really make the final determination. But if it's a significant renovation or addition, then yes, you may require a license and the home may be eligible for warranty coverage.
Thanks, Todd. And while I have you, maybe I'll just keep you. And the question I have here is, you touched a little bit about it in the beginning of the presentation, so maybe you could give an overall summary. But the question is, what are the requirements for a builder to be licensed? So I think maybe speak to a little bit about some of the competencies.
Well, there are 7 competencies for a license to become a licensed builder. You would have to apply through the licensing department for that and fill out an application. You have to have the competencies before you actually can become licensed and actually submit that application. So the best way to become licensed is to contact our license department, learn about what competencies you have to take, and some individuals may be exempt from certain competencies with some of their background or some of the building experience they may have in the past. So again, the best way to become licensed is contact the licensing department at the HCRA and so figure out exactly what competencies you are required to take and submit an application.
Thanks, Todd. Was there anything anybody wanted to add before I jump in with the next question?
Actually, I did want to add one little thing, one nitpicky little thing, and that is nobody's exempt from the competencies. They might have equivalent experience, but everybody needs to meet those core competencies.
Thanks, Wendy, for clarifying that. Oh, perhaps this question is actually for you. So the question is, why not require builders to provide proof of the HCRA license before they're able to get a permit to build?
Well, that's an excellent question, and one that we have been talking about with various stakeholders, including the government. It's something that has been done in other jurisdictions, and would be an interesting idea. I think that's one of the proactive ideas that I referred to previously, because it would certainly stop. It would help stop building before it started, which would be certainly more effective than always having to go after builders after they've already started construction. So it's definitely an idea worth considering.
Thanks, Wendy. We have some questions on specific.
Actually, sorry, Tess, I just want to I just want to clarify what I just said there. When I say we're talking to the government, it's because it would require legislative requirements that so we can't authorize that ourselves. We can't mandate that as the HCRA, just to be clear, or we might have done that already.
Ah, I see. And actually, that's a good segue into the next question, which is earlier when we answered a question about rentals, we said that the HCRA does not license builders who only build rentals. And the question is, why is that?
I can try to answer this one. Rentals, so there's definitions, as you'll see, Mayor touched on it on his presentation about the advisories. So for licensing requirements, you have to have an owner as well. So typically in rental units, you don't have an owner because the vendor would be not selling to an owner. So somebody would not be taking title of the property. It's a rental unit. So they would not meet the definition of owner, which would eliminate the requirement for a license.
I suppose it's something to do with consumer protection and the idea that, rental owners are more commercial and tenants aren't consumers in the same, they're not buying a new home, right? Trying to go back into the minds of the legislature when they set the legislation, because it's set out in the legislation.
Thanks, Wendy. This is a good one as well. What does the HCRA do when an illegal complaint is received by us? So once we get it, what do we do with that?
Thanks, Tess. I can take that one. So once we receive an illegal building complaint, we look to see if there's enough information in that complaint and details, as well as we determine if that complaint is within the HCRA's jurisdiction. Once those are checked, if everything is good, then it becomes an investigation. And as mentioned through the slides today, the investigation, there's 3 phases, gathering information, doing analysis, and then determining an outcome. Those would be what happens when your illegal building complaint is submitted.
Thanks, Dawn. Another question we have, and it was touched throughout the presentation. And so, Todd, you spoke to the difference between an owner-built homes and what that is. And so, let's say what happens if someone changes their mind throughout the process and ends up selling their home.
If they change their mind during the process, then they would be required to obtain a license, hopefully before they sold the home. Yeah, so if you start out with the intention that you're going to, live in the home and build it for yourself, and then you do change your mind, the onus is on you to, become licensed and ensure that the home has a warranty on it.
Thanks, Todd. And this is a question that we get often when we are out and about and speaking to folks, but what about recreational cottages? Do that needs to be licensed by builders who are building those?
I can take that one, Tess. So the short answer is yes, but there are many determinations. We would have to look at a specific case-by-case situation. You know, is it seasonal? Does it meet Part 9 of the Ontario Building Code? So it's really hard to say, but generally speaking, yes.
And I think, you know, we pointed to this as well in the presentation. We do have that advisory on definition of home, and it's very technical and very specific. And I think that might be helpful. That's ultimately the guide that we would want to reflect on and reference to get that very specific confirmation. We have about a couple of minutes left. And so I'm probably going to be making the final question for today, which is maybe a question for me. Oh gosh, which is the question is, you know, the person submitted has said, you know, when I hired my builder, I didn't have any idea that Tarion and HCRA existed at all. And so the question is, what are we doing as a team for more public awareness of our role, our mandate, and our resources? So I think I can start, and then I'll pass it over to Wendy. And ultimately, yeah, it's a team sport, right? We were out here, you know, for today is one of the examples of us being out and about and promoting, you know, our education. We recently redone our website based on, you know, consumer feedback and feedback from our stakeholders on repackaging our information to be easily understood, to be easily navigatable. And we've also launched our blog series for the last 2 years. That's become really popular. One of the most visited aspects of our website, actually, in our blog, again, is all information that we hear that consumers, particularly home buyers and homeowners, want to know. You know, we do build in a lot of your feedback and turn that exactly into small bite-sized pieces for education. And we're pretty popular in terms of pushing out content on social media as well. So maybe Wendy, if you want to, I'll pass it to you for anything else that we're doing in terms of increasing that education and awareness, including, of course, our research and education mandate as well.
Yeah, and you know, it's an important question, and it's a very important issue for us. We're a fairly new organization, so it does take time to become known. There is still some confusion over the change from Tarion to the HCRA as well. So all those things that Tess mentioned, we continue to do. Lots of digital advertising that has really helped. We can see that there's more engagement through all of Tess's team's digital advertising work. We've talked to thousands of consumers at home shows, particularly this last year. That has been very, very helpful. So we'll continue to do all of that. I also wanted to mention the other way to reach consumers and get better awareness of who we are and what we have to offer in terms of consumer protection is through other professionals. So reaching out to the real estate community and real estate lawyers, for example, building officials. So everybody that's in the home buying sphere can help get the word out about the HCR. It will take time and effort, and that's what we intend to do.
Thanks, Wendy. And with that, that brings us to the end of tonight's session. Again, I want to thank all of you for joining us tonight. If you do have any additional questions that do pop up, please do not hesitate to reach out to us at stakeholder.relations@hcaontario.ca. As well, you'll be receiving a short feedback survey by email in the next day or so. We would very much so appreciate you taking the moment to share your thoughts, including on what we can do to make more future sessions even more useful and engaging. And so with that, on behalf of our team here, have a good evening. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.